Good evening, folks. This is Brian for Rumble Roses Wrestling, and I am joined tonight by my son, Will, and the champion, Reiko Hinomoto. How are you guys doing tonight?
A little nervous and excited seeing as Aigle versus Makoto is the final match in round one.
I can only imagine what that must feel like, seeing as all these women are gunning for a shot at your championship.
Yeah, it's a little rough. Anyways, how are you doing tonight, Will? Earth to Will? I'm talking to you.
Excuse me,
I mean, I'm doing as fine as you look tonight, Reiko.
What the? Why are you talking like that, Will?
What do you mean? This is how I always talk.
Oh, right, of course. Well, anyways, let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first competitor, hailing from the plains of Mongolia, the nomad Aigle.
Aigle is arguably one of the fiercest women in our roster, as she has been trained in Mongolian wrestling since a young age. This should prove more than useful as she joined Rumble Roses Wrestling in the hopes of becoming champion and using all that prize money to restore her village that was ravaged by a flood.
Gosh, that's horrible. I wish wrestlers lower on the card would be paid more so she can just repair her village already, instead of having to face me. Because as much as I'd love to help her out, I am not backing down if she happens to win this tournament.
And her opponent, hailing from Japan, the Judo babe Makoto.
Listen to this place go wild for one of your most formidable past opponents. Tell us, Reiko, do you think Makoto has what it takes to go the distance and earn that #1 contender shot against you again?
Definitely. Makoto may be super cute and innocent, but make no mistake about it. She's a completely different monster in the ring.
And we definitely saw all shades of that monster in her rematch against Candy Cane. After Makoto suffered a horrible injury at the hands of Candy Cane, she came back with a vengeance. Let us see if she can bring the same kind of ferocity in tonight's matchup, as this one's a bit personal as well. Before Candy Cane's assault on her, Aigle was actually the first and only person to ever defeat Makoto in Judo. And Makoto actually joined Rumble Roses for a chance to face off against Aigle again. And our matchup begins. Final match of round one in the Rumble Roses #1 Contender Tournament. Makoto starts off strong with a Hongoshi, but winded as she is, Aigle is able to recover and fight back.
And she just drops Makoto on her head with brute force.
This is typical of Makoto. Sometimes it takes a while for that demon in her to come out. Sometimes she needs a certain amount of punishment in order to unleash it.
Well, it's still early in the match, and she doesn't look too banged up. Let's hope that Makoto doesn't need to require reactionary emotion in order for her to rally in this matchup. She can't let her emotions get the best of her if she is fighting in the match that she came here for.
Gee, Dad, you make it sound like her championship match against Reiko here was more of a side quest to her than the main quest it actually was.
Will, you know that's not what I meant to say at all.
Will, be nice to your father. I knew what he meant. Of course, Makoto's match with me was important. And she definitely deserved it because of how hard she's worked at integrating her judo with wrestling. It's just that I get it. Aigle is the only person who defeated her in judo, the sport where Makoto got all her gold medals from. It's like that wretched Dixie being the only person to ever talk to me so rudely. Not even Candy Cane was that disrespectful, which is saying a lot since everyone seems to hate her for how disrespectfully she fights.
Kinda like how you're the first person to ever tell me to be nice to my father.
You've never had to be told before, so I don't know what's going on with you tonight. Have you been spending time with that no-good Chris and have his bad influence affect you?
No, not at all, sir. I was, just making a really bad joke that didn't land the way I wanted it to, and, besides, we're getting off track here. We should focus on the match.
And yes, we should, as this has been an interesting back and forth between Aigle and Makoto. The failed top rope elbow drop from Aigle, with Makoto responding with a running elbow drop. And now Aigle is back on her feet, landing a ton of strikes.
Makoto Makoto looks really slippery right now with Aigle barely able to keep a hold on her. I think that powerbomb from earlier made Makoto realize just how important it is to defend herself instead of running at full force with the offense.
Side headlock takedown from Aigle. Probably the most standard move we've seen her perform so far. Before that, she's just been carelessly dropping Makoto ever which way.
Crunchy arm crank from Makoto. And it's interesting that she didn't turn that into a full-on submission.
Well, it looks like she's just trying to grab a hold of any limb she can and work on them, so that Aigle's ability to move and lift her is stifled.
Very good observation, Will. It makes me wonder why you aren't a wrestler yourself.
Trust me, just because I have an eye for it doesn't mean I'd be able to do anything about it if I stepped into the ring myself. But if anything, you and I could wrestle a little bit after tonight's broadcast.
I don't know, Will. Are you sure you'd be okay with getting beaten up by a girl?
We wouldn't have to go hard at it. We could just wrestle gently. Unless hard is how you like it.
Stop it. You're so naughty.
You guys crack me up. Oh, what another devastating powerbomb from Aigle, who has been gaining more and more control as this match goes on. And can she win it right here? Right now?
And Makoto escapes in 2 3/4 of the count. Maybe she will be able to regain her honor and defeat Aigle if she can rally in this matchup.
I was hoping that would be the end of it, so you and I can have our own little matchup after this one, Reiko.
You're really cruising for a bruising, huh, Will?
I'd let you get a few hits in here and there, but all I see is me putting you on your back and covering you.
Get a room, you two. Or should I say wrestling ring? I don't know. Let's focus on the match as Makoto takes Aigle down with an Ouchigari. Can Makoto turn the tides and defeat the woman who ended her win streak in Judo?
It sure doesn't look like it, as Aigle has just been throwing her around like a rag doll.
And it appears Aigle is putting Makoto on the grill for some Mongolian barbecue.
Why'd you say it so Texan-like?
And Aigle goes for the cover, and Makoto's dream of defeating her streak ender ends right here.
Here's your winner, the Nomad Aigle.
And with that, Aigle moves on to the second round in the #1 Contenders Tournament.
Finally, it's over. All right, Dad, it's been fun, I guess, but Reiko and I've got our own little wrestling match to have ourselves.
You know, son, I don't mind you getting, let's say, friendly with our champion, but I really would have appreciated if you focused on the match more.
Sorry, Dad, it's not every day you get to talk to a lovely woman.
Speak for yourself. Why do you think I married your mother?
You're calling Mom lovely? After she heavily discouraged me from getting involved with Rumble Roses even far worse than you did?
Anyways, to the people watching at home, we hope you enjoyed tonight's match between Aigle and Makoto.
Yes, because you're a bleeding heart, seeing as how emotional you were when it came to commentating with Chris. I knew you wouldn't be able to handle his bantery personality, so I did everything I could to keep you away from him.
We hope you watched the start of round 2 of the tournament where, Miss Spencer squares off against Bloody Shadow for the semi-final spot.
But isn't that what makes wrestling so exciting? All the intensity of emotion? That's why I shut Chris and his shitty opinions down. And you're against that? And now I can't even flirt a little with our ring talent?
Yes, all that intense emotion is great when directed at the ringside action, not in your personal squabbles or sexual conquests.
What does Brian usually say here? Oh, yeah! Anyways, folks, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. This has been Reiko, Brian, and Will for Rumble Roses Wrestling on the Sinless Assassin channel. Signing out. How'd I do there? I even did the dramatic pause at the end. It's good. Right, Brian? Brian?
Thanks, Reiko. It was fine.